It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's just Tom and Tony. It's time for the T-Squared Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the T-Squared Podcast. Tom Duggan, Tony Luna, and we got a great show lined up. We always have a great show lined up. I'm going to quit saying that because it's always a great show.
Well, just keep saying it.
Yeah, so...
it keeps coming true, so keep saying it.
I should just say it's a disappointing show and go with that. see how many people still listen to it. And but no, we've got a guy that you know, Petar Poucki. Mm-hmm. I said it right because during our Facebook Live, I think you told me wrong and got me yelled at on Facebook. But anyway, yeah, but Petar's going to be joining us here in a little bit. And Tony, you know Petar, give us a little bit of his backstory and what to expect from this guy.
Super interesting guy. He, wanted to move out of where he was previously, and you'll see soon that he does a lot of research on his stuff. And it was just lucky that I got him, and ended up in 30 minutes we became good friends and found him the perfect house. He moves here and he couldn't be happier.
Awesome.
Just a great story, great backstory that he has. He's an American.
I've talked to him just a little bit, and super sharp guy, very musically inclined. We're going to get into his music story. We'll talk a little bit about that. But, just even sitting a few minutes and talking to this guy, it kind of blows your mind just how he's so analytical about things.
He is next level thinking on some of this stuff. And I say some of the stuff, it's everything.
Yeah.
Every aspect of his life, you can just tell he is next level thinking.
We're looking forward to that. We'll have Petar coming up in the next segment. Later on, we're going to do something. We're trying to introduce some new features. So we're going to do a underrated, overrated coming up in the last segment. So Tony, be kind of brainstorming on something you think is underrated and something you think is overrated. And I've been kind of working on that myself. So we'll do that.
So the poop app's not going to work.
Well, probably not this time. Maybe it could be underrated, though. It could be an underrated thing. But one thing we're going to do in the first segment here, we're going to talk about things, and you did this, I think, in our first or second episode, things you like, things you don't like. And I'm going to start off with things that we like that have happened here recently. What's something that comes to mind for you?
Well, this is probably going to date the show a little bit, I guess, But one thing I did like for sure was that, of course, we had the assassination attempt and stuff, and I don't want to get political too much on the show and stuff, but man, I don't know, when he came up, throw that fist in the air, I think he came out a changed man, and I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people are talking about it now, and we're talking about Donald Trump, by the way. Gosh, I don't know, I swelled up with emotion. Was glad he came out of it great. I think his thought process now is underrated. I think he may have found religion while he's laying on that stage.
Yeah, and very well could, and I watched it. I turned the television on the Saturday that occurred, and without really knowing what was going on at the time, they were showing the video, and you heard the pops, and, you see him grab at his ear, and then all of a sudden he's down. Mm-hmm. And my first thought is they've killed him.
Mine too. Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought to start with. But, for him to come back up the way he did, blood on his face, everybody's seen the images, the pictures. And again, we're not going to get super political. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. That just a remarkable bounce back. And I've witnessed his body language since then, the facial expressions, it's different. He's been humble.
He's humble, yeah.
Yeah, you see it in even if you had a chance to see it into the speech during the week, you can kind of hear it as well. So, yeah, that was just unbelievable. And something playing out in real time. I know there have been people that were alive when Kennedy was assassinated. I wasn't around, obviously, then. And Ronald Reagan got shot. Those are moments that change history. Yeah. And I think this is going to be another one as well. I'm going to go on to something else. And, I haven't talked a lot about my faith, on the program. But something that I've liked that I've been seeing a lot of lately. Summertime, when I was a kid, I always looked forward to Vacation Bible School. That was just something that it was exciting, enjoyed, was a big part of my life. Even when I was a younger adult, I worked a lot in our church's Vacation Bible School. Sadly, I got out of church for a long time, but back in now. And I've been seeing so many posts like on social media about Vacation Bible Schools and all the kids that have been attending and the kids getting saved and being taught about Jesus at such a young age. I love to see that. And, I applaud the parents who have gotten their kids in church at a young age. But like myself, my parents didn't go to church. the churches would come around and pick the kids up. And, I'll share, I'll go to Outreach Baptist Church. Our church, I think, has 3 or 4 vans. We go out and pick kids up in the community and bring them in. And my hat's off to the people that do that. Take the time to do that and work with Vacation Bible Schools and teach these kids, because in this crazy world we're in right now, Tony, I don't think there's enough of that, teaching about Jesus, teaching about love, and trying to, have some positive influence on these young kids at an early age, at an early stage of their life.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, we didn't go to church as a kid and stuff, but one of my best friends, Chuck Feltz, a lot of people remember him. He died, I say as a hero. He was trying to save his dad at the lake, and him and his father both drowned. But as a kid, they always went to Johnson Chapel Baptist Church.
Yeah.
But Vacation Bible School, he always invited us, and that was my influence in church as an early age, is going to church camp with him, and I always enjoyed that.
Downtown Baptist Church was my home church, but inevitably I try to go to any one I could, just because it was always fun. There were other kids around, and for those 2 butter cookies and unsweetened Kool-Aid will always stand out of my mind. But that's one thing that I've really loved and have enjoyed seeing here lately. All right, let's be the negative Nancy's we're going to be here. What's something that you haven't liked here lately, Tony?
Gosh, I don't know. It's hard to pick out something negative right now. I'm always looking for the positive in people and stuff, but I'm going to go local on it. I'm going to go with this. Gosh, I'm going to catch heat for this, but this petition going around for this bond issue, the local jail issue and stuff. And I've had so many people come up to me and they have signed this thing for the wrong reason. And that's just a big negative. So I'm going to make it a priority to get the truth out there and what this really is.
Yeah. So let's expand on that a little bit. I know we don't talk a whole lot of politics on our show, but you and I have had this discussion off air. Kind of explain what you're seeing that people think they are signing up for here, and what reality really is here.
Yeah. So what I had multiple people come up to me and I make myself available. I go to the restaurants. I sit at the tables. I'm always available. My office door is always open, unless we're on there. So I try to talk to everybody. And I've had multiple people come up and say, well, what do you think? We've signed that petition, and so our taxes won't go up. And I was like, no, that's not what that's for.
Right.
The petition was for the bond resolution to borrow the money to build the jail/justice center, and we've really not decided which way we're going to go on that. And but a lot of people were misinformed, or in their head was thinking that they were signing this thing to end this 51-cent tax levy, and which is not true.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was misrepresented or if they were just uninformed. I'm not sure, but I've tried to talk to folks and make them understand that this has nothing to do with the tax levy. It's coming no matter what.
Right.
All you have done is handcuff the commission so we can't borrow the money to do it, which is honestly, if you'll go back and read some of my Facebook, that's exactly what I wanted. I think we've rushed this thing, and we need to slow down a little bit, and that's what this kind of kicked us in gear to slow this down and do this correctly.
So inevitably, something is going to have to be done about the jail, regardless of how you feel about it or what you think should be built, shouldn't be built. Yeah, it's got to be addressed.
It's got to be addressed. Yeah. What people don't understand is TCI has caught a lot of heat because they've told us that they're going to decertify the jail if we don't make a plan of action. Well, the petition ends the plan of action, is my understanding. And so I've had people come to me and say, well, they can't close the jail. Well, the problem, what they're missing is TCI can't close the jail, but the fire marshal can.
Oh, wow.
And it's, from what I'm hearing, is we're not under codes with the fire marshal. He's holding back because TCI says we're working at it. Well, since we stopped working at it, it's a good possibility they may close the jail altogether now.
Wow. And boy, you talk about
it's going to cost the county millions of dollars just to ship these prisoners out if we can find a place.
Yeah, that was my next point there. Taxpayer money going right out the door. Yeah, wasted. Yeah. But something's going to have to be done, and I know there are people all over the sides of this argument. I have my own opinions. I stated myself on that, but I appreciate you sharing that, kind of helping educate. This is what you're signing. This is what's going to happen, because even myself didn't have a very clear understanding, and I've not even seen a petition, let alone sign one. But it's good to know that. I'm going to go back to the shooting for a moment for what I didn't like. And again, I don't want to get super political here. And there's bad and good on both sides of the aisle. But something that is really sickening to me is social media has been eat up with videos of people championing this shooter. I mean, and being to the point of being sorry that Donald Trump wasn't killed. And I've got two sides of this. Number one, the videos out there are sickening enough. Number two, the social media platforms that allow these videos and just almost shove it in your face. I mean, you know, I'm on Twitter. Twitter is my sports outlet. I follow more sports related things on Twitter just because I'm a sports junkie. But man, I've been inundated with accounts I don't even follow of these, I'm sorry, nutty people, you know, out here squalling because he wasn't killed and talking about this shooter. People with the intention of murder are not heroes. They're not heroes. No. You know, no matter how you feel about any politician out there, you know, let's flip-flop it. I mean, for the people that hate Donald Trump, what if it had been Joe Biden? Yeah. And the people on the other side are doing this? I'd still feel the same way.
Absolutely. Me too.
I mean, it's wrong. It's immoral. It's wrong. It's sickening. And social media, for some of the good that it is, has just, I think, brought such an evil presence throughout our country by just putting that out there and just inundating people with it.
The good thing about X Twitter.
X. I'm sorry. I haven't got caught up with that yet.
Their community notes is probably some of the best I've seen. If it's false or fake or whatever, he calls it out immediately.
Sure.
And when I say he, it's Elon. They call it out immediately versus the Facebook and the other ones don't. Yeah. They just leave it out there and they throw a big blanket and say, well, it's freedom of speech. Well, if it's fake, call it out as fake. It doesn't matter. And you can still keep it up there.
Sure.
Just have the notes on it. And X has got really good about calling out the fake stuff.
Yeah. It has changed a lot since Elon took over. And a lot of people don't like that. But, you know, I think it's helped. But I still just being inundated with all that and seeing all that and just imagining people having that mindset that you're legitimately crying and upset because somebody didn't die. I just that sickens me to no end.
Yeah. I'm going to say something here that my wife don't know. I hadn't told her this stuff, but I did a quick little TikTok video, 3 or 4 minute, just to explain. My job. I've never been a salesman. I'm in sales, but I'm not a salesman. But I feel good about reading people. I've always been good about reading people. And I posted a little video on TikTok saying, you know, what my thoughts was, how I looked at Trump, how I thought he is a changed person. I could just tell it in his voice, his mannerisms, his facial expression stuff. And a matter of hours, I had 2 death threats on people I don't even know. So I went back to try to find them. I don't know if they're bots, as they say, or if they're legitimate people or whatever. So I had to turn off the comments. Left the video up, but I turned the comments off.
That's scary.
It's scary.
That's death threats over you having an opinion.
Over me having an opinion on my views on how he looked. Wasn't political at all. It was just what I seen in him.
I mean, everybody's got an opinion, no matter how you feel. And I respect anybody's opinion. Again, just going back to when you just go above and beyond to be a lunatic, no pun intended, you know, it's just mind-blowing to me. I mean, I can respect anybody with an opinion, but when you're threatening somebody over your own personal opinion, I don't know. All I do is pray for our country because we need it.
Yeah. You know, we've done 2 things that we said we weren't going to do: politics and religion.
I know. Here we are. I know. We've certainly stepped in it, but we're going to get off of that topic and we're going to get Petar Poucki. I almost said it wrong. We're going to get Peter in here.
He's always going to be Poucki to me.
Poucki. We'll get Poucki in here when we come back. This is the T-Squared Podcast, served up by Buttonwillow General Store and Coffee Shop. And as we head to break, let's talk about our good friends at Buttonwillow General Store and Coffee Shop, located in the heart of downtown Smithville at 114 West Broad Street. You know, everyone loves their coffee, of course, but the many locally designed products inside the general store also keep folks coming back for more. Stop in Buttonwillow today for a hot or iced coffee, cappuccino, or frappe. Or if coffee isn't your thing, they also have iced or frozen fruit chillers, lemonade, peach, blackberry, or blueberry. Hey, they've got something to drink for everyone. And while you wait for your order, peruse the store and pick out a cup or a mug to take home, or maybe some unique jewelry, lotion, or a bag of candy. Hey, they even have items for your pet. Now, for all you cigar aficionados out there, you have to stop in the recently opened Button Willow Fine Cigar Lounge. Joe has an outstanding selection of cigars in stock, with more to come soon. Find a cigar that suits your taste, then kick back and relax in the lounge. What a perfect way to end a stressful day. Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop and the Button Willow Fine Cigar Lounge. Stop in for a visit and tell them Tom and Tony from the T-Squared Podcast sent you.
Many centuries ago, people drank wine to quench their thirst. That's because during that time, water wasn't always clean, and natural fermentation, which is the process that occurs when wine is made, could kill germs caused by salmonella and cholera. So people actually drank wine instead of water. Okay, by no means are we telling you to replace water with wine, but wine has been proven to be good for you. When people think of wine around these parts, Stonehouse Winery is typically the first name that pops up, because Stonehouse has a vast array of options to suit your taste. Red Zinfandel, Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, Lantana White, Red and White Muscadine, Raspberry Mist, Blackberry Summer, and many, many more. And don't forget, Stonehouse is the exclusive home of Aaron Tippin's line of wines, including Kiss This Cherry, Blue Angel Blueberry, and Ready to Rock Riesling. Be sure to drink plenty of water this summer, but when you're ready for something special, pick up a bottle or two of your favorite Stonehouse wine. Stonehouse Winery, 2444 Genesis Road, just off exit 320 in Crossville, or online at stonehousewinery.com.
In the heart of Smithville, by the tranquil waters of Cedar Hill Lake, one name stands out in real estate: Tony Luna. With over 25 years of unmatched experience and a track record of over $100 million in local sales, Tony Luna is the expert you can trust. Whether you're selling your cherished home or seeking that perfect lakeside retreat, Tony's commitment ensures you'll get top dollar for your property. Don't settle for less. Choose the wisdom of experience. Choose Tony Luna for all your real estate needs. Call now at 615-210-9522 and take the first step towards your real estate success.
Big city dining in a small town atmosphere. That's what you experience at Ace's Steakhouse, Seafood, and Italian Restaurant, 110 West Walnut Street in historic downtown Smithville. Ace has brought some of the best cuisine you'll ever find around the globe to Smithville, and it's so good you'll never want to leave town again to go eat. Steaks cooked to your specifications: ribeye, New York strip, and filet mignon, juicy and tender. Seafood dishes that are out of this world: fresh swordfish, mahi-mahi, salmon, jumbo shrimp, and lobster tail, just to name a few. Oh, and did I mention Ace's immaculate Italian dishes? Chicken parmesan, Ace's favorite lasagna filled with beef, Italian sausage, and loaded with cheese. Or try the penne vodka, tossed with Ace's Angry Vodka Blush sauce. Not to mention Ace's amazing soup and salad selections, plus desserts to die for, like the creme brulee cheesecake, carrot cake, or death by chocolate cake. Hey, if you go home hungry, that's your fault. Ace's Steakhouse, Seafood, and Italian Restaurant. Open 5 to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, 5 to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Call ahead for reservations, 615-215-2237.
At Home Services, we work with both residential and commercial properties to provide many services, specializing in dump truck delivery of rock, dirt, and other materials, driveways and parking lots, excavation, finish grading of yards, erosion control, snow removal, and more. Plus, septic tank installation, repair, septic tank pumping, and porta potty rentals. Learn more by visiting our website at homeservicestn.com or give us a call at 615-597-6287.
If you are one of the few that's never shopped the Mailroom Boutique in downtown Smithville, then you don't know what you're missing. Stop in and browse through our wide selection of graphic tees, hats, Center Hill Lake and Smithville merchandise, grooming products, gourmet snacks, and more stickers than you can count. Come in and find that unique gift for the person who has everything, or the best gift of all, a gift for yourself. We're located at 102 West Main Street in downtown Smithville, or check out our website at themailroomtn.com. That's mail as in gender, not mail as in post office. MALE, mailroomtn.com. We appreciate your business and thank you for shopping local.
Who's ready for some good eating? You know everyone loves good food, and it's always hard to beat some delicious down-home barbecue. When you're in Smithville, the best barbecue can be found at the Little O Shack at 320 West Broad Street, the Lipstick Pig. All you have to do is drive by there and get a whiff of what's cooking on the smoker. That's all it will take to make you turn your car around and head for the parking lot. Unbelievable fall-off-the-bone ribs, the best you will find anywhere. Pulled pork, smoked chicken, and daily specials that will keep you coming back day after day. Not to mention they have an amazing salad bar. If you're in a hurry, you can call ahead and pick up lunch or dinner at the drive-thru window. Just call 931-319-8842 to place your order. The Lipstick Pig is open 7 days a week. Follow them on Facebook for daily specials and day-to-day hours of operation. Hey, you know good barbecue is calling your name. Heed that call and visit the Lipstick Pig, 320 West Broad Street in Smithville. We're back on the T-Squared podcast, served up by Buttonwillow General Store and Coffee Shop. Tom, Tony, and Peter, I'm going to say it right this time, Poucki. Is that right, Peter?
That is good. That's
all right.
good.
Tony told me wrong.
You always be Poucki for me.
Well, that's okay. You know what? It used to be Poucki, but you know what? These days, with the new thing going around the internet, I could get in trouble at home.
So we don't want to talk about that, right?
Oh, well, you know what? We can just let everyone's imagination work.
But she was not talking about you.
No, it wasn't not talking about me.
Okay.
Well, it's funny she come out, as an internet sensation after you moved to Tennessee. So.
Well, there's coincidence, right?
Peter's got a fascinating story from the get-go to today. And we got a lot we got to talk about here in a couple segments, Tony. But and I know you know Peter a whole lot better than I have. And kind of give us some backstory how you two guys met, Tony.
Yeah. I just got a crazy call from this crazy guy. And we ended up looking at some property. And the last house we went to, I think you guys fell in love with it.
Yeah, there's a little backstory to how we got here. We had a Labrador, 13 years old, and she wasn't doing well. Joni and I, my wife, we wanted to travel a little bit and see places and look for a place to ultimately buy for retirement. And we decided we weren't going until after, the dog. And dog left us, Lucy left us in just after Valentine's Day. And we went down to Missouri around Table Rock and looked at property. And if someone would have called us back, we would have bought a lot. It's beautiful over there. Went through Waverly, went to Dixon, spent a night in Nashville, and came out to see you. Mm-hmm. We looked at quite a few houses.
We did.
We dragged Tony around pretty good for 2 or 3 days. And then he suggested we look at something that was a little bit outside of our geographical boundary from Nashville. And we got to the place, and I got out on the deck, and there's a plaque on the deck. It said Lucy's Lighthouse, and it was the view my wife wanted. She teared up. I teared up. I think Tony was a little misty too.
I teared up.
Yeah, that was it. That experience is all about energy. And I judge many things in my life just through the energy and interaction with people, and let that speak to your gut. So we did our deal. Now we're here in Tennessee full time, and so far so good. It's all fun.
Peter, let's go all the way back because you came to the U.S., and this kind of follows up Ace, who we talked to in our last podcast. You came to the United States from Canada. Walk us through your backstory, if you would, how that all transpired and what brought you and your family to the United States.
Well, in Canada, I was born in Montreal. My dad moved us to Toronto when they were having riots and they're burning English signs. It was a kind of difficult time. Grew up in Toronto, went to school there, started playing drums there, and I ended up going to Minnesota, and I ended up staying. I was living in a 3-quarter house for probably a year, no income. I had to rake leaves in the Kenwood neighborhood. never knew who Mary Tyler Moore was, but I walked by her house every day, which is bizarre. And, at that time, I remember getting paid to rake leaves in October in Minnesota. They get blown around the yard, and sometimes you have to do it 3 or 4 times.
Right.
But I was watering down ragu sauce to go with the noodles I bought so it would last all week. I came to Minnesota with skill, musically and in construction, and I got a work permit. And I immediately started working, running a crew, and that lasted for maybe 3 or 4 months. Then I joined a union. I met a gal. We got married. I had a son, got out of the union, started a company, and never looked back. But from there, I recognized that having moved from Canada and reading up on the Constitution, not being able to vote, this constitutional republic is vastly different than the democratic process in Canada, where effectively, if you're one of the 49.9%, you got no say.
Wow.
That's profound when I see all the swirl going on these days of people in different camps. But I recognize sky's the limit here. Mm-hmm. It's up to you. I'm a motivated individual. I can't sit around. So I started a company in 1990, November 13th, 1990. I took a bus from Burnsville, Minnesota to St. Paul with the last $20 I had. And the car was broken down. Took the bus back and forth. Took all day.
Wow.
Crazy, right? Anyway, I met more conservative people. The unions were saying the conservatives were bad, and the blah, blah, blah. It's all that swirl that's in politics. But I found that the people who I was introduced to in terms of political affinity, I got more help from the conservative-minded people because I came interested in solving a problem.
Right.
And not afraid to chase it. Starting the company started with me in a van. High water mark, I had over 120 some employees. We're doing serious volume. We became the largest install company for Section 10 specialties, dealing direct with school districts. We had union affiliations, and I got tired of that. I built that up at 42. I woke up one day and thought, I hate this. I didn't like all the dependence. I don't know how else to say it. Mm-hmm. So, because it's the United States, you can do what you want. I decided I was going to change the model. And I found jobs for the good people I had, laid off the rest, and started in 2003 doing construction management, which is a continuation of what I've always done. And a general contractor. One of the first projects out of the chute was for LASIK vision centers. And I went on to build a bunch of those and worked with their manager, their business development manager, started building more medical, dental, restaurants, other commercial things, printers of all things.
Wow.
Yeah, printers are a complicated creature. And I had a lot of fun with that. I kept a few good people on and structured their interaction with me so it was tied to the result. And again, I couldn't have done any of this in Canada. Now, there's people that would argue and say you could. No, I couldn't because I tried.
Sure.
And it just wasn't happening. So there are differences in some of the lending laws and rules and banking, mortgages and so on. But in terms of the spirit, I found people here in the U.S. that I don't know if you want to say that I mirrored them or they mirrored me, but they wanted the same thing I wanted, and they were going to go get it. And that's who I basically hung with those business people, and we just ran with it.
How difficult was it to start the business? I mean, you talk about your background and how you struggled, but how difficult was it to get that business off the ground initially?
I interacted with some of the first set of clients while I worked for a different company, and they kept asking for me to come back to their next project. They wanted Peter to run it, asked my name. Mm-hmm. And, the bosses at the time, he was asking, well, how would they know who you are? Well, they came to the site. I talked to them. And when I announced to them I was going to step out on my own, they immediately said, here's your first project. Mm-hmm. And it was literally just working with every general contractor, every client end user, and just finishing strong. That's the key, right? It's hard. It's easy to start something. It's hard to finish strong, deliberately. I was okay in my skill set to do that. Mm-hmm. And it just went, one company would win a bid, we'd score, finish the project. They'd want to know who the other company used. And now I've got people competing for me, which I wasn't smart enough to figure out how to set that up, but that's what ultimately happened. So it just kept snowballing on itself. But there again, that's every day you're up at 4:30. You get your coffee, you're in the shower by 5:30, you're on the job site by 6:30, everyone else shows up at 7. They cut out about 3:30. You stay till 5. Mm-hmm. That's the game.
Yeah,
you've got to be dedicated. You got to want it. You got to get up and work it. There's nothing to stop you.
Yeah.
Now, I did have some bad experiences in Minnesota with bigots, effing Canuck. I've had my vehicle vandalized. I've been assaulted. I was told to get off the job sites. I've had my tools stolen. I mean, these are all things that really happened. I realized that I'm not going to beat them as a fellow union member. Mm-hmm. So I quit, started a company, outmaneuver them. That again, I could do that here in the U.S.
Sure.
My dad wasn't a shoemaker. I don't need to be a shoemaker. That's kind of the European model, right? That flows into Canada to some degree, at least at the time frame I was coming up. And in making that move, getting the support from the customer who hired me, it was probably 1998. And guess who walked through my front door from the union hall to be another carpenter on our crew? The son of a that flattened my tires.
Wow. Oh, no kidding.
He looked at me. I looked at him. He looked at the floor. He turned around and he walked out the door.
Wow.
I never called him back. It was just, my admin at the time, her name was Courtney, fantastic admin. She asked me what happened. I explained to her. She wanted to go out in the parking lot and flatten his tires, but and we held her back. She was a spitfire for sure. She actually got up on a chair one time to talk to a concrete truck driver that came in with muddy boots into our office. And she wanted to look him in the eye, so you had to stand up on a chair to do it. This guy didn't, he shrunk. He didn't know what to do. And he apologized, and he came back 2 days later with a vacuum, and he cleaned up the mess.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's a little house on fire.
Everybody needs somebody like that.
I think I'm married to one.
Petar Poucki is our guest on the T-Squared podcast, served up by Button Willow General Store.
So I got a question for you. How hard was it to get your citizenship here?
I wouldn't say it was hard. What we had to do was I had to prove I couldn't be a criminal. I couldn't be a felon. You couldn't be, a lot of things. And the key phrase from back then in the 90s was you couldn't have been a person of questionable character. They asked you, are you an alcoholic? Well, no, I'm not. But I divulged everything. I would say this. The process back then, while I would say was tedious because you had to keep reinserting your documentation. And if you weren't determined, you would have gave up. So I would say from that perspective, it was somewhat frustrating to have to keep going back for more meetings. I'll never forget the questions that the counselor asked my wife at the time. Does he wear boxers or briefs? He wanted to find out if this is a marriage convenience. And you know what? I laugh about it today. At the time, I didn't quite understand. It was almost offensive. But this is a great place. And if you've got to do a few extra laps to get here, and once you do, you've earned it. Mm-hmm. Right? And there's the name of my company, Meritus Construction. Meritus in Latin means earned. Really simple concept. It's that easy. So I'd say I was determined, and it wasn't difficult. Now, for a variety of reasons from the 90s till recently. I got sworn in as a citizen in 2019. I did it at that time. It took 13 months to put all the paperwork through.
Wow.
Because the timing for those matters, they usually, if you got a green card, they want you in within a year of your expiration to apply for citizenship. And while you can't see me out there in Radio Land, I'm a brunette with brown eyes, and I got a weird last name that can't be easily pronounced.
Obviously, Tony.
My immigration attorney says, Peter, we're just going to renew your green card because they're going to create the Department of Homeland Security, and the government doesn't know what they're going to do, and they're throwing people in jail left and right, and let's just renew. And so I did. And then when it came up for renewal again, I went for the citizenship, and it was no problem. Actually, a fella who interviewed me at the end was from I think Nigeria, and I had better English, so he was asking me some grammar questions, and I was supposed to answer a series of questions regarding the civics. It's a 100-question test, civics test you have to take, which I really wish that civics would be in school curriculums as a mandatory thing, because again, we're a constitutional republic here. Mm-hmm. We're not a majority democracy, and it's vastly different. And he said, well, how about we just have a conversation? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I know the answers. I've got the questions and the answers. Let's just talk. 45 minutes later, I said, did I pass? He said, yeah. He said, and we talked about the civics, but we also talked about other things. He asked me about Mickey Mouse. Out of all the okay, who made Mickey? Well, Walt Disney. Okay, yeah, that's right. So there's some cultural, softer cultural questions within the context of that conversation, which I thought were good, because cultures where we are, right? The three of us are come from different places. Sure. Right? Myself more so than the two of you, but our cultures will meet, and there'll be things that overlap. There'll be things that are harmonious, and there'll be things that are not so much. Mm-hmm. But that's where life happens. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to the energy thing, you just meet somebody, you feel them out, and it feels right, and you're being treated fairly. And I mean, it was actually easy. Getting sworn in was pretty emotional. It really blew my mind. There was probably seats for 150 people as spectators during that event. I kept looking back to see who showed up, and a third of the audience came for me.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
They didn't see it, but I teared up. That was powerful. Mm-hmm. My daughter, grandkids, family, friends, some military guys I met, some guys I shot with at the gun club, attorneys, business people, bankers, subtrades, subcontractors that, you just kind of get along with some guys better than others. And I remember just looking back after all of that and just thinking how lucky I am to have come to the U.S., take the opportunity, and not have anything in the way and run with it. I mean, that just, yeah.
Petar Poucki's our guest. We're going to squeeze a break in here. When we come back, we want to talk about your journey from Minnesota to Tennessee and the steps along the way. And I'm excited to talk music with this guy because we had a little discussion before we went on the air, and I'm just really excited to get into that topic. Peter, stick around for a few minutes.
Sure.
All right. We'll be back with more T-Square Podcast served up by Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop.
And as we head to break, let's talk about our good friends at Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop, located in the heart of downtown Smithville at 114 West Main Street. You know, everyone loves their coffee, but the many locally designed products inside the general store also keep folks coming back for more. Stop by Button Willow today for a hot or iced coffee, cappuccino, or frappe. Or if coffee isn't your thing, they also have iced or frozen fruit chillers, lemonade, peach, blackberry, or blueberry. They have something to drink for everyone. And while you wait for your order, peruse the store and pick out a cup or a mug to take home, or maybe some unique jewelry, lotion,
or bag of candy. Hey, they even have items for your pet. Now, for you cigar aficionados out there, you have to stop in the recently opened Button Willow Fine Cigar Lounge. Joe has an outstanding selection of cigars in stock with more to come soon. Find a cigar that suits your taste, then kick back and relax in the lounge. What a perfect way to end a stressful day. Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop and the Button Willow Fine Cigar Lounge. Stop in for a visit and tell them Tom and Tony from the T-Squared podcast sent you.
If you are one of the few that's never shopped the Mailroom Boutique in downtown Smithville, then you don't know what you're missing. Stop in and browse through our wide selection of graphic tees, hats, Center Hill Lake and Smithville merchandise, grooming products, gourmet snacks, and more stickers than you can count. Come in and find that unique gift for the person who has everything, or the best gift of all, a gift for yourself. We're located at 102 West Main Street in downtown Smithville, or check out our website at themailroomtn.com. That's mail as in gender, not mail as in post office. M-A-L-E, mailroomtn.com. We appreciate your business and thank you for shopping local.
Who's ready for some good eating? You know everyone loves good food, and it's always hard to beat some delicious down-home barbecue. When you're in Smithville, the best barbecue can be found at the Little O Shack at 320 West Broad Street, the Lipstick Pig. All you have to do is drive by there and get a whiff of what's cooking on the smoker. That's all it will take to make you turn your car around and head for the parking lot. Unbelievable fall-off-the-bone ribs, the best you will find anywhere. Pulled pork, smoked chicken, and daily specials that will keep you coming back day after day. Not to mention they have an amazing salad bar. If you're in a hurry, you can call ahead and pick up lunch or dinner at the drive-thru window. Just call 931-319-8842 to place your order. The Lipstick Pig is open 7 days a week. Follow them on Facebook for daily specials and day-to-day hours of operation. Hey, you know good barbecue is calling your name. Heed that call and visit the Lipstick Pig, 320 West Broad Street in Smithville.
Did you know wine is actually healthy for you? In fact, you would need to drink 7 glasses of orange juice or 20 glasses of apple juice in order to get the same amount of antioxidants found in a glass of wine. So yes, wine is healthy. When searching for the best wine in the Upper Cumberland, look no further than Stonehouse Winery in Crossville. With some 20 wines to choose from, Stonehouse has something that's sure to tickle your palate. From dry to semi-dry, semi-sweet to as sweet as you like, Stonehouse has the perfect wine for you. During these hot summer months, nothing beats an ice-cold winerita, and Stonehouse has plenty of mixes in stock, along with blackberry cider and muscadine juice for those seeking non-alcoholic options. Remember, wine is not only good for the soul, but for the body as well. Please your palate with a visit to Stonehouse Winery, 2444 Genesis Road, just off exit 320 in Crossville, or online at stonehousewinery.com. Stonehouse is also available in several of your favorite neighborhood grocery stores.
Ignite HVAC Electrical and Plumbing offers both residential and commercial sales, installation, and service. We want to set ourselves apart from the rest of the heating and air industry by providing a seamless experience from your project start to finish. We also offer duct cleaning, which will help improve the performance of your unit. No job is too large or too small. For any heating and air, electrical, or plumbing job, give us a call at 615-597-0100.
Hot, fresh, delicious. That's what you'll always experience at Ace's Steakhouse, Seafood, and Italian Restaurant. Guaranteed. Ace is located at 110 West Walnut Street in downtown Smithville. Whether it's steaks, seafood, Italian dishes, salads, sides, or desserts, the quality will always be second to none. Ace and his staff go the extra mile to make sure you never leave disappointed. They want you to experience big city dining in a small town atmosphere. Please call ahead for reservations, 615-215-2237. Reservations are not always required, but are highly recommended. When your party comes through the door, Ace wants to make sure he has a table ready for you. Ace's Steakhouse, Seafood, and Italian Restaurant. Upscale dining with top-notch service. Open 5 to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, 5 to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday. We hope to see you soon. Thank you, and God bless.
In the heart of Smithville, by the tranquil waters of Center Hill Lake, one name stands out in real estate: Tony Luna. With over 25 years of unmatched experience and a track record of over $100 million in local sales, Tony Luna is the expert you can trust. Whether you're selling your cherished home or seeking that perfect lakeside retreat, Tony's commitment ensures you'll get top dollar for your property. Don't settle for less. Choose the wisdom of experience. Choose Tony Luna for all your real estate needs. Call now at 615-210-9522 and take the first step towards your real estate success. Back on the T-Squared podcast, Tom and Tony and Petar Poucki, our special guest today. And Peter's got such an intriguing story. And Peter, we want to talk about, go back, you had talked about how you kind of took steps to get here in Tennessee, finding the perfect house and all that. But what brought you here to start with? And I know necessarily Tennessee wasn't your final destination, but what made you want to leave Minnesota and maybe explore someplace else?
Well, my wife and I, Joni, God bless her heart, she just recently retired from 3M, and we had talked about moving to a warmer place, thinking, Florida, Arizona, Texas, too hot, too populated, for a variety of different reasons. So we're both spreadsheet nerds. She had created this giant multi-tab spreadsheet that had everything from access to medical to driver's license fees to the way a group of people vote, off of a center line, state taxes, property taxes. We filled all these metrics in on a bunch of different places. So we ejected Florida, we ejected Hawaii, decided Arizona was too hot.
I can't imagine rejecting Hawaii, but but it's probably expensive. That's probably the biggest thing it stands out.
You know what? It's a young man's adventure.
Yeah.
It's very much a frontier.
Yeah.
You go there to the hotel that looks great. It's got everything you need, but you go a mile away, you're in the jungle.
Wow.
So if you really need, like on Maui, if you need some real medical intervention, you're getting flown to Honolulu.
Yeah.
So if you can't make the 90-minute, pick up and fly,
sure,
and you're done.
I'm scratching that off the bucket list.
and it is expensive.
Yeah.
If you're looking at Social Security and retirement and whatnot. And we wanted to have a place that didn't have the state taxes that we're paying in Minnesota. So economics were certainly one of the metrics. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be someplace where there's culture, music, because that's where the fun is.
Sure.
It didn't have to be a college town, but proximity. We wanted to be somewhere like a jungle, mm-hmm, which we got. We're out in the woods, and there's some insects down there that I don't even know how to describe them, except that I just hope I don't see them again.
They're actually mosquitoes, not pterodactyls, despite what they look like. Some of them.
I think it's more the ticks that he had an issue with.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that.
Less than a weekend, he's pulling ticks off of him, saying, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah, I had to go get my doxycycline to make sure I didn't get limes. But so we decided we really wanted something warmer. We wanted something in more of a conservative mindset of a state, mm-hmm, and a place where you could just be, and we're not here to change anything. We came here because we've reviewed the different states, the temperaments, the mentality, the voting metrics, the income, the taxes, the available amenities, and we chose Tennessee as a place of potential. And once we saw the house that you brought us to, the very last place we saw, that was it. It was done. Now we're here 100%.
Yeah. What about this area maybe stands out to you, being somebody that's lived in different places, different cultures? What stands out to you about this particular area?
I would have to say, I have to reflect back to my time in Minnesota to answer that. Mm-hmm. In Minnesota, we had rising crime, and it kept on going and going and getting worse. We had the big riots everyone heard about, and nobody likes that. But you become numb to the crime and the animosity, where the level of that discord becomes normalized. Mm-hmm. And that causes people to be into themselves, meaning they don't want to be out. They're insecure, and they may not look you in the eye because that's confrontational in some cultures. People are quieter, more to themselves. It's wide open here. Hello.
Yeah.
People walk in the restaurant and there's 6 people and there's a table. Somebody who didn't get asked for a chair said, "Hey, we have an extra chair," and they give it. I'm blown away at the hospitality that is just provided to strangers.
Yeah.
It just, and I'd say average people are just happier. That's profound. Mm-hmm. Now, coming from, I'm not saying everyone's miserable and dark in Minnesota, but but I would say that life is just a little lighter. It's not as heavy.
It's warmer here. I think that.
Well, there's that for sure. I think, and that's my experience. And there's a lot of musicians here, so there's a lot of that. As a drummer, I'm interested in exploring some of that.
There was a few pictures that before we got to closing, he would send me a picture and there'd be 6, 8 inches of snow on the ground. I'm sending him pictures of me sitting at my office in shorts. So yeah.
We got a couple snowstorms in between the time we saw the place and came back. But I'd say there's just a slower pace, which some people would say is good. Some people would say it's not. In my opinion, it's like, how damn fast do you have to go?
Yeah.
Why is it always got to be on? It can be turned off once in a while, like the phone, right? The most important button is the off button. And so we certainly have some adjusting to do with, the microwave society that we're all living in. Everything's happening in 1 minute. When someone says they're coming this afternoon, it's around 3. That probably means 3:30.
Yeah.
Right? It's not 2:50, which is what I would do. I'd be there 10 minutes early.
We're speaking with Petar Poucki on the T-Squared podcast, served up by Button Willow General Store. Tony, we want to get into the music aspect because this guy's pretty fascinating. I'm going to kind of defer to you here to get this started because you were telling me some stuff about Petar, and then I had a little conversation. But this is a talented guy, and I'll let you get into that.
He plays a mean recorder. That's all he does.
If you see a picture of me from like the early '80s, I look like what's that guy's name?
Yanni.
Whatever happened to Yanni?
I don't know. Somebody circulated a picture of me on Facebook, and all my buddies were like, "Hey, I didn't know Yanni was in your kitchen."
What was funny was when me and Petar met, it wasn't probably 30, 45 minutes into us showing houses, we kind of figured out that we were musicians. And I'm not near the level of this guy, don't get me wrong. But we became fast friends, and I think that was one of the threads that helped us become good friends.
Right. Well,
and then all of a sudden I'm starting to get a video of him playing drums. I thought, oh my gosh, what the heck? This guy really? This is John Bonham Jr. here or something. I don't know. He's amazing.
And kind of what got you started with that, with drums and music in general?
That's interesting. I started in violin, and by the way, Tony plays a mean harmonica. Don't let him downplay that.
Yeah, he's way too modest.
He's a terror. He can tear it up. I started on violin, and probably 2 years into that, I was playing with the teacher, Mr. McMillan, at Emory Junior High in Toronto, and he really thought a lot of me and what I was doing on the violin. So when I asked to change to band, because I wanted to play a horn, he went to Mr. Pinckney, the vice principal, and he put the order in, and they agreed, but they didn't tell Mr. LaFonte, the band teacher. And I showed up in his class one day, and this Frenchman just looked at me with absolute disgust and said, "You will play drums. Get back there." And he wouldn't give me sticks. He had an accent and everything, right? For 3 weeks, I sat there. He just ignored me.
Wow.
And somebody left some sticks one day, and a buddy of mine, Chris Marcoux, the biggest feat I've ever seen, he starts playing Back in Black on a clarinet. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm hitting the drums with the sticks, trying to understand what each thing does, what sounds. And I went home that night and I listened to Back in Black, and I came back the next day, and I just played it. And then I played Carry On Wayward Son. And then I played, I don't know what next. And the next thing I know, I've got an album bought for me by Rosemary Milwani, neighbors of ours in the apartment at 195 Exbury. All the Rush, All the World's a Stage.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. I heard Neil Peart. I heard that music. Then I had an 8-track from a friend of mine, Peter Walker. His older brother, Bill, had an 8-track in his van. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
And it was Zeppelin. It was a Led Zeppelin 8-track. And I heard John Bonham. And I went, wow. So I started learning. I started playing. And at 14, I started drums. By the time I think I was 15 and a half, maybe, I had a drum kit. And I was playing, I'm left-handed, but I'm playing a right-handed drum set. The teacher hated me so much, he never corrected me. So, I mean, he was just hoping that I'd die or something, or just shrivel up. But I'd play open-handed. And then I started seeing pictures of all these famous drummers, and I'm wondering, how come I don't cross my hands over? I can't do that. How do you do this? And I was feeling like I was a bit of a heretic, a weirdo, not measuring up. That went on for a while. I saw Billy Cobham, and I watched him play, and he played open, and I went, that's what I want to do. Later, as time went on, I learned Lenny White, Return to Forever. He plays open.
Yeah.
Simon Phillips, he plays open. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one doing this. And then I had an audition for a local band called Trance. And you may have heard of Dream Theater. James Labrie was in the band, and some other fellows that we jammed with way back in the day. And I was the youngest guy playing with these other guys that were, I was like 18, maybe 17. They were all in their early 20s. They're polished professional musicians. And I got the gig because I played weird. They're like, we got a drummer that does something no one else does.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a 3-song audition, Good Times, Bad Times. They wanted to make sure I could do the bass drum part. We played, it was a Deep Purple song, Highway Star, and it may have been a Pat Travers song. I forget, Heat in the Street. Those are the 3 songs, and I had finished, and the guitar player said, you're hired. That's it. You're our drummer, just like that.
Yeah.
So it was fun. Kevin and I became, James, as he calls himself now, we became good friends. He roomed with me for a while. We hacked around in different things we were doing with different bands. And I remember he left Toronto in '89 to go audition for this band in New York called Dream Theater, and he's still the vocalist.
Wow.
So we both have a history that goes back that far. We still talk. But during that time, when I went to Minnesota, I stopped playing. I stopped playing from 1989 till 2002. But it's funny, when I bought the current drum kit, the Amber Gold drum kit that I have, I started playing, and it's like I never stopped. I'd been listening for all those years, and I couldn't physically have the stamina to play for 2 hours at first, got blisters and everything. But then once I got conditioned, it's like I never stopped. I ended up doing some small gigs and a little bit of recording stuff in my old house in Savage. And then I love to play. I don't know how to say it. I hear it and I play it.
That's just a gift. I mean,
It is.
It's a true gift. But you were telling me, we were talking earlier, it's not just the playing. I mean, you get more involved in that. I mean, you were talking about the song.
Yep.
and really understanding the song. And I want you to explain what you were talking to me about, because
Sure.
it makes a lot of sense. And people that don't play music don't listen to it like this guy does. But kind of explain that, if you would.
Okay, for everybody out there, if you've got a heartbeat, you got groove. If you don't got a heartbeat, you're not listening to this podcast. It's that easy.
Pretty much.
So if you're in a studio session, and say you're playing a love song, and you need to hit things with drumsticks and amplify the idea of love. So here you are, bang, bang, right? It doesn't sound much like love, right? But you need to listen. You need to internalize what the singer's doing. You want the words. You want the meaning of the words. You want to understand the emotional thrust. You take a song with a guy with a broken heart, and he's lamenting the breakup at the beginning of the song, and you're trying to help him push that emotional gesture forward by listening to the band. Are you playing in time? Are you playing round? Are you playing oval? Oval means you're playing a snare drum early or late, which forces all the bandmates to execute their parts in more or less time. So that creates an emotion, anxiety, stress. And then are you playing under like Whitney Houston? In which case you'd want to play perfectly round, invisible, because you want everything focused on her. Or you're playing in like a Springsteen thing where you might be a little more, I hate to use the word sloppy, but let's just say loose, so that left-footed people can still dance to it. Which, you know, but that's
about the way I dance.
But that makes a piece of music much more approachable. So take the Rolling Stones, for example. I don't think they play anything that even comes close to something like a Whitney Houston song, right? So that's really approachable by people with imperfections, and that's part of what you got to understand. If you're trying to deliver a drum track against a love song, and you're playing this against this broken down, heartbroken guy at the beginning, you go through a little chorus, you might have a little solo, and at the outro of the song, he may have picked himself up by his bootstraps and he's on with his life. You want to play something that amplifies that emotion.
Yeah.
Within the context of whatever is being provided with the instruments. So every instrument's listening to some part of the drum kit. So as you're playing, sometimes if you slow down slightly, I mean, even within a click track, and you open up your playing, maybe you go quarter notes on a bell on a ride, that air makes things bigger, makes things swell, right? And you just approach the piece for the sake of the piece. What you're trying to do is just do your level best to amplify the emotional gesture of the song. On one of the clinics I've done, I take a song by Toto. It's a ballad. It's off Toto 4, right after Rosanna. And I would talk about how the drums build through the whole song to the high point at the guitar solo. And I've never had anyone be able to play all of it first time.
Yeah.
It takes time to think through what you're doing. Why the tambourine? Why the bell? Why right there? Why the drum fill? Why half the drum fill and then leaving air and then coming back in on one as a guitar sweeps or does a bomb or the piano rings out? Without a context, it's hard to describe it more than that. But
sure.
The whole point is you're putting forward a moment in time for someone to catch someone's ear. And it all needs to be in place. So as a drummer who is directed by producers and by artists, I have to be keen to think about their emotions, what they're trying to say.
Right.
If you play Wipeout, it's a lot different than Love Me Tender.
Sure.
Right? But sometimes when you love me tender, you wipe out. Right?
Yeah. I want to get into these clinics that you work with and because you're teaching some of these theories, and talk a little bit about that.
So I've done clinics periodically throughout my life. Recently did one in Minneapolis, which was very well received, and it was centered around the drumming of John Bonham of Led Zeppelin. I played in a Led Zeppelin tribute. I really studied what Bonham was doing to the point where I was studying his influences to understand how he was able to take those influences and create what he was creating. So when you find out that Buddy Rich was one of John Bonham's influences, you look me straight in the face and go, what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's there. There are ghost notes everywhere in Bonham's playing. And they're not revealed because of the way they recorded, but they're there.
Yeah.
Without them, you can't lay the groove down authentically. And therefore, your bandmates can't execute. And then you sound like I don't know what.
I know.
So you have I do these clinics where we I talk about setup, I talk about ergonomics, I talk about feel, I talk about the grooves, the emotional gesture of what is being played. I usually have 3 or 4 examples, but I know the whole Zeppelin songbook. So I put it to the group that comes in. What do you want to hear? Mm-hmm. What was each person? If the group is small enough, we'll go through all the songs. And we'll talk about the dynamics within the playing that, a lot of people see electronic drums as a linear proposition. Going back to the emotion, if you're tapping out a love song like a Metallica song, you're out.
Right.
You've blown it, right? You've got to have some level of dynamic because dynamics are what emotions are about, high, low. And then I take different examples from the Zeppelin library. Le Bonton song, for example, that groove is what I would call oval. While it's in time, the snare drum is placed slightly late. The preceding kick drum is placed early. So there's all this air between that kick drum and the snare drum. There's silence. If you put those two close together, you lose the feel.
Sure, yeah.
So that's an example. And then I have the students or the people that show that come, and I have them play on another kit against the drumless track. And then I put the track on with the drums, and they see how far off that snare drum is.
Wow.
And guys are like, most guys get it right away, but it's a tactical, hands-on approach to demonstrate these concepts. And I don't want to diss the lesson people out there, but I like drum lessons where you're interactive, because you're coming to a drum lesson, say I'm giving you one, to learn something you've never played. I show it to you once, you play it once, and then you leave. And now you get home, what did you do? And then you come back in a week, and I'm like, you dummy, you didn't do anything. So I always put a video aspect into that, and the lessons are an hour in session, and I usually do an hour of post, so the lesson price would be twice as much. Mm-hmm. But then you get a video. You get a video of yourself making the mistakes and a video of yourself doing it right.
Right.
Now, we've just increased your vocabulary. And so when you apply yourself the next time you're playing with a band, now you know the difference. And it's something you can use. It becomes part of your Library of Congress of skills. That's what I'm interested in purveying in these clinics, is to give people actionable things that they can use. The other thing we do is I have a tambourine person. Pick a drummer, give him a tambourine. Every single song we play, I ask him to get in time with the chicka, chicka, chicka. Because swing is the most elusive thing that I find is out there in drums. Guys can't swing. John Bonham can swing. Alex Van Halen can swing. Buddy Rich can swing. Mm-hmm. Vinnie Colaiuta can swing. Simon Phillips, Steve Smith. Guys play straight. There's a lot of guys that play 80s music. It's 4/4 time. It's straight ahead, head down, all one volume, not much dynamics. That's great. That's a certain kind of music.
Sure.
But if you can make something swing, it can swagger, it can move, it's danceable. It's a deeper flavor, right? We've all had that pasta dish. It was tomatoes, but it was meh. And then we've had the other one that went, wow, was okay. It's a deeper dish. It's a deeper flavor, and I think it reaches more people. And by looking at the dance floor, the more the drummer swings, the busier the dancers.
Yeah.
Wow. Peter,
that's some next level music thinking, man.
It is. And even us being music fans, and you're a musician, I'm not. I've sing a little bit, but to have it presented on that makes you think a lot differently.
Absolutely.
And I just, Peter, it's fascinating, and we got to have you back to talk more about that at some point. I know we're kind of running low on time here, but I've enjoyed it. You're fascinating. This guy's sharp as a tack, and just sitting around talking to him has been a blessing for us because we've enjoyed it.
Well, I know I've sit here and been quiet the whole time, but that was for a reason. I was just kind of in awe of the conversation.
Same here, but Peter, thank you so much for joining us. Come back and be with us again sometime. We'd love to talk to you more.
That'd be great. We'll structure some musical thing and get everyone maybe tapping something out at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Thank you guys for having me. Thanks for all the gracious hospitality, and everybody here in Tennessee has been just so sweet, helpful, My wife, Joni, and I are going to very much enjoy our time here.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Petar Poucki's been our guest on the T-Squared podcast.
Oh,
Tony.
Poochie. Oh, Poochie.
Tony and I will come back. We'll come back with more. Stay with us here on the T-Squared podcast, served up by Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop. And as we head to break, let's talk about our good friends at Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop, located in the heart of downtown Smithville at 114 West Broad Street. You know, everyone loves their coffee, of course, but the many locally designed products inside the general store also keep folks coming back for more. Stop in Button Willow today for a hot or iced coffee, cappuccino, or frappe. Or if coffee isn't your thing, they also have iced or frozen fruit chillers, lemonade, peach, blackberry, or blueberry. Hey, they've got something to drink for everyone. And while you wait for your order, peruse the store and pick out a cup or a mug to take home, or maybe some unique jewelry, lotion, or a bag of candy. Hey, they even have items for your pet. Now, for all you cigar aficionados out there, you have to stop in the recently opened Button Willow Fine Cigar Lounge. Joe has an outstanding selection of cigars in stock, with more to come soon. Find a cigar that suits your taste, then kick back and relax in the lounge. What a perfect way to end a stressful day. Button Willow General Store and Coffee Shop and the Button Willow Fine Cigar Lounge. Stop in for a visit and tell them Tom and Tony from the T-Squared podcast sent you.
Summer is here, which means it's time for some fun in the hot summer sun. Whatever your plans are this summer, be sure to take along a bottle of your favorite wine from Stonehouse Winery. Chill by the water with a cool glass of Cumberland Gold, red or white muscadine, orange squeeze, or blackberry summer. If a drier wine better suits your palate, sit and relax with a glass of Fairfield or Davenport Red, Lantana or Homestead White. Or how about a delicious Chardonnay? Stonehouse is also the exclusive home of Aaron Tippin's line of popular wines. Kiss This Cherry, Blue Angel Blueberry, and Ready to Rock Riesling. These wines and many more are available to enhance your summertime fun. Don't forget, Stonehouse also offers Winerita mixes, which are perfect for summertime sipping. Visit Stonehouse Winery at 2444 Genesis Road, just off exit 320 in Crossville, or online at stonehousewinery.com. Stonehouse is also available in several of your favorite neighborhood grocery stores.
Did you know that Holmes Group Incorporated is a collection of 4 different LLC businesses? These include Home Services, offering dump truck deliveries of rock, dirt, and other materials, excavation, septic pumping, porta-potty rentals, and more. Ignite HVAC Electrical and Plumbing, a full-service 24/7 train dealer for all your heating and cooling, electrical, and plumbing needs. Home Surveillance, cutting-edge home and business security camera systems. And Tennessee Fleet, offering vinyl graphics, storefront wraps, all things imaginable in automotive accessories such as custom wheels and tires, automotive audio and aftermarket equipment, and much more. Find out more about Holmes Group and our partner businesses by visiting our website, holmesgroupinc.com, or give us a call at 615-597-6287.
Big city dining in a small town atmosphere. That's what you experience at Ace's Steakhouse, Seafood, and Italian Restaurant, 110 West Walnut Street in historic downtown Smithville. Ace has brought some of the best cuisine you'll ever find around the globe to Smithville, and it's so good you'll never want to leave town again to go eat. Steaks cooked to your specifications, ribeye, New York strip, and filet mignon, juicy and tender. Seafood dishes that are out of this world, fresh swordfish, mahi-mahi, salmon, jumbo shrimp, and lobster tail, just to name a few. Oh, and did I mention Ace's immaculate Italian dishes? Chicken parmesan, Ace's favorite lasagna filled with beef, Italian sausage, and loaded with cheese. Or try the penne vodka, tossed with Ace's Angry Vodka Blush sauce. Not to mention Ace's amazing soup and salad selections, plus desserts to die for, like the creme brulee cheesecake, carrot cake, or death by chocolate cake. Hey, if you go home hungry, that's your fault. Ace's Steakhouse, Seafood, and Italian Restaurant. Open 5 to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, 5 to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Call ahead for reservations, 615-215-2237.
In the heart of Smithville, by the tranquil waters of Cedar Hill Lake, one name stands out in real estate, Tony Luna. With over 25 years of unmatched experience and a track record of over $100 million in local sales, Tony Luna is the expert you can trust. Whether you're selling your cherished home or seeking that perfect lakeside retreat, Tony's commitment ensures you'll get top dollar for your property. Don't settle for less. Choose the wisdom of experience. Choose Tony Luna for all your real estate needs. Call now at 615-210-9522 and take the first step towards your real estate success.
If you are one of the few that's never shopped the Mailroom Boutique in downtown Smithville, then you don't know what you're missing. Stop in and browse through our wide selection of graphic tees, hats, Center Hill Lake and Smithville merchandise, grooming products, gourmet snacks, and more stickers than you can count. Come in and find that unique gift for the person who has everything, or the best gift of all, a gift for yourself. We're located at 102 West Main Street in downtown Smithville, or check out our website at themailroomtn.com. That's mail as in gender, not mail as in post office. M-A-L-E, mailroomtn.com. We appreciate your business and thank you for shopping local.
Who's ready for some good eating? You know everyone loves good food, and it's always hard to beat some delicious down-home barbecue. When you're in Smithville, the best barbecue can be found at the Little O Shack at 320 West Broad Street, the Lipstick Pig. All you have to do is drive by there and get a whiff of what's cooking on the smoker. That's all it will take to make you turn your car around and head for the parking lot. Unbelievable fall-off-the-bone ribs, the best you will find anywhere. Pulled pork, smoked chicken, and daily specials that will keep you coming back day after day. Not to mention they have an amazing salad bar. If you're in a hurry, you can call ahead and pick up lunch or dinner at the drive-thru window. Just call 931-319-8842 to place your order. The Lipstick Pig is open 7 days a week. Follow them on Facebook for daily specials and day-to-day hours of operation. Hey, you know good barbecue is calling your name. Heed that call and visit the Lipstick Pig, 320 West Broad Street in Smithville. On the T-Squared podcast, served up by Button Willow General Store. We thank Joe and Angela and all the fine staff at Button Willow. They've jumped on board to be our title sponsor for the remainder of our first season of the podcast. And we can't leave out the cigar shop. We actually did our Facebook Live at the new Button Willow Fine Cigar Shop. I'll get the name right from the get-go here, but Joe's got that thing started up, and you're kind of a cigar aficionado.
Yeah, I like a little bit of cigar. I wouldn't say I'm aficionado, but I like to smoke on a cigar every now and then stuff, and he's got some good stuff in there for sure.
And right next door to Button Willow, so step in there, and if you just want to sit back, kick back, and smoke one there, he's got a lounge, and it's great.
And he's got an air scrubber, so you can smoke one. It pulls the air out, cleans it before it goes out in the atmosphere. It has a great cigar smell in there for sure.
It does. Yeah. I've always loved the smell of a cigar. Never have been a smoker, but I love the good smell of a good cigar.
And you can tell the good ones too.
Yeah,
they're good.
Absolutely. And we thank all of our sponsors, of course, for being part of the T-Squared podcast. You've helped make some changes to the program because we've got new equipment.
That's right.
I'm so excited about the new recorder that we've got. I hope it's working, and I'll probably find out once I go back and edit, but hopefully we've got everything on there. But we got all kinds of literal bells and whistles on this thing, Tony.
Literally.
So we got sound effects, and we'll be having a lot of fun with this new equipment.
Megaphones, foghorns, drum track, you name it.
I can make Tony sound like a chipmunk, or
you don't have to do nothing for that.
But we certainly appreciate our sponsors, and everything that comes into the podcast monetarily goes back into the podcast. We want to make this bigger, better, and we're going to continue to grow it. And hopefully, for the folks out there, you enjoy listening to what we do, because we enjoy doing what we do.
We do. This is not a moneymaker by any means, but it's something fun.
Absolutely.
It's a passionate thing. We got something to say, and we're going to say it, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to say it regardless, and we'll put our feet in our mouths occasionally, but it's all in good fun.
I think Peter had something to say.
Yeah, boy, man, I tell you what, that guy he's something else. And actually, before we did our last segment, I probably spent about an hour talking to him, and phenomenal. This guy's he's so intelligent, and he's one of these guys. He'd be a great lawyer, but he could probably be the prosecutor and the defense lawyer, and because he's got a knack of being able to look at a big picture, both sides, and just be so analytical.
He's definitely one of the smartest people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
I've just never seen anybody's thought process go in the direction he does. And what's real good is he's good at explaining it in a way that you understand where his mind went, but you go along with that trip with him.
Exactly. Dummy it down. That's what I like to call it. And I really just enjoy the time, not just on the podcast, but just sitting and talking to him. And now I really want to hear him play drums.
Me too. I can't wait.
Man.
I've seen videos. I've not seen him live yet, but I'm excited about it. He keeps inviting me to come to his house, and I'm hoping after me and Summer get back from vacation that we're going to go over and do some recording.
Yeah. So, and he was in one of the very best Led Zeppelin cover bands.
Yeah.
He didn't quite mention that, but we know that.
Yeah, he's in top 3 Led Zeppelin cover bands in the country.
I mean, when you can play John Bonham, probably maybe as well as John Bonham,
absolutely,
you're good. There's no doubt about that.
Note for note, he could do that.
We did a new segment last episode called "Dude Seriously." And we had some fun with that. We're trying to add a few new features to make our parts of the show a little more entertaining, obviously. But today we're going to do underrated, overrated.
You go first. I can't wait till yours. Yeah,
underrated, and I had 3 or 4 that I was thinking of, but Bob Newhart passed away last week by the time this comes out. You and I had the privilege of growing up in an era where there were some old school actors. You know, I watched a George Burns movie the other night, just for example, and I remember him as a kid. He was, he played God in a movie. I mean, he was just a well-versatile actor. And, of course, we've got the new actors of today. Bob Newhart, to me, is one of those underappreciated actors. He was able to deadpan and be so funny in anything you saw him in. He just he was marvelous as an actor. And from the old Bob Newhart show, and I've seen some of those, to his show that he had in the 80s, he was just brilliant. He was a funny guy. He pops up in movies. If you've seen the movie Elf.
Yeah, exactly. He was hilarious.
He was hilarious. And I mean, he doesn't even have to try to be funny. Yeah. He was just a wonderful, brilliant actor. I think he's sorely underrated based on his body of work. People in Hollywood that knew him and worked with him will tell you how brilliant he was. But from people like us or out there, just I don't think really realize how good he was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. And I'm going in that same vein is Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He just recently passed away, last week or 2 or 3 or whatever it was and stuff. But if you do a little research on it, it's amazing what he did to society back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and stuff. I mean, he was a big deal back when they was doing recording.
Sweating to the oldies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's just amazing the influence he had on society.
He did.
Just getting people in shape and stuff. And was a very funny individual.
But you had a post that I got a big laugh out of. It makes you wonder when Richard Simmons has passed away, but Keith Richards is still somehow going. Keith Richards looks 5,000 years old, and he smokes and drinks and parties and has lived this rock star life.
And still on tour.
It's still on tour. He's still around, and poor Richard Simmons is, I go to the gym a lot. It kind of makes you stop and say, is all this work really worth it? All right, overrated. I've got one. Amazon Prime Days was last week, and a couple of days where you get all these deals, right? So I'm going to rant on Amazon Prime, period. And before I get into my rant, going back to my last Dude Seriously, yes, I called Amazon and complained openly to them. But I was looking on Prime Days. I thought, okay, I buy some stuff regularly. I get my hair gel on Amazon. So I was looking at that. I thought, okay, they had a special on it. And I'm looking at the price, and I'm like, no, wait a minute. This is actually the same price I pay for it regularly. In fact, it might have been a little bit more than that, but they had it marked down. They had it marked down allegedly like $10. And I'm like, this is a scam. I'm sorry, but some of this is just a scam. There may be some deals. I'm not saying that there aren't, but, and I want to go back to Amazon Prime with my primary rant. If you have Amazon Prime, you might can relate to this. You pay about $15 a month, and originally it was you get your delivery within a day or two, and they don't charge shipping, and that's great and all. Except I've noticed here lately, it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days before I'm getting my delivery. Now, I'm sorry. You might say, well, it's got to go through the channels, come from all these different places. There's a warehouse in Mount Juliet. Yeah. I could drive there, literally, and have what I wanted in an hour. And So, I contacted Amazon. I'm like, what's going on? What am I paying for? Exactly. What am I paying for? I got no answer, of course, other than an apology. And get this, they're going to give me $5 off my next purchase, Tony. $5 off my next purchase for the inconvenience. But I got no answer. I still don't know what I'm paying for.
But was you surprised that you didn't get an answer?
No. And well, I'm going to say this. I may have gotten an answer. I couldn't hardly understand the person I was talking to. So there may have been an answer. Yeah. I didn't get it, at least the answer I wanted. So
you didn't, whoever you called was not in Mount Juliet then more than
I don't. Well, it could have been, but I doubt it. But anyway, Amazon Prime, overrated for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, your turn.
Well, it's funny, and if you come in here, you'll see we have very little notes. But mine is Amazon Prime, overrated. So, do I shop on Amazon? Absolutely, it's hard not to shop on Amazon. It's so easy to do this stuff. Does my wife shop on Amazon? Ask the FedEx driver and the UPS driver and the post office. They all know my house. Sometimes my house looks like Highway 70 because my wife does look like it. So, but to me, it's overrated. And it's just not the Prime days. It's the Amazon. I honestly try not to do it. I try to shop local and stuff. But man, it's hard. It's so hard. I think it's overrated. You're right. Usually I can go to Walmart, drive up here to Walmart and get a ream of paper $5 cheaper. It's the convenience.
It is
that everybody likes.
You don't have to put pants on and go out in public.
Yeah. Well, you go to Walmart, you don't have to either.
Well, you got a good point there. You really don't have to anymore either. But you're right. It's convenience, and I shop more on Amazon than I probably should. But I don't know. Other than the convenience factor of it, that's probably the biggest.
It's really not a deal saver anymore.
No.
When it started, it was.
Yeah.
But now it's not anymore.
But Jeff Bezos has done quite well.
Yeah, he's got a $35 million yacht in Miami, so good for him.
Yeah, good for him. But anyway, that's our underrated, overrated. What about you out there? What's your underrated, overrated? Share with us on Facebook, and we may talk about some of those in our next episode. We don't know who we're going to have on next yet, but we're always looking and looking for interesting people and getting their backstories. That's been the premise of the show since we started. We've had some great guests, and
we got some stuff in the works. We just haven't got some dates set yet.
We've got things in the works. We got some pretty exciting stuff actually in the works. We really do. So I know we're not going to tip our hand just yet. We've even been talking about maybe doing another Facebook Live come election night in November and having a maybe I will say a big event, but some kind of event.
I think it'll be fun. I'm all for it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think so. So we're kind of working on that. We're going to keep some things under wraps because we don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, I guess, so to speak. But anyway, I want to thank Petar Poucki for stopping by and talking with us today. Tony was great. Old Poucki, we're going to have to maybe get him back. We're going to have everybody. I think season 2 will just be a repeat of season 1. We'll just bring everybody back again and get the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. We thank Bud and Willow and all of our fine sponsors, and of course we thank all you great folks out there for listening to the T-Squared podcast, and spread the word. Let people know that you'd like, or don't tell them you don't like what we're doing. Tell them you like what we're doing, and tune in and check us out. We're on most streaming platforms now. For Tony, I'm Tom. We'll see you next time on the T-Squared podcast.
See ya.